Sarah, and Vinny on Alice at 97.3.
What are your kids going crazy about right now? What do they want?
The older boy wants to go see that movie about the ship.
Oh, the Finest Hours. We're about to review that right now. All right, this stars Chris Pine, Ben Foster.
Great segue, Gretchen.
Casey Affleck, and Eric Bana.
Yeah.
So this is a true story of an impossibly daring Coast Guard rescue off the coast of New England where an oil tanker split in half during a cataclysmic storm. So, Marcus, this movie's 2 hours long. How was the first hour and a half? How was the first 3/4 of the film?
Unfortunately, it was one of the most boring hours and a half. Is that proper?
Hours and a half.
That I've ever experienced. Well, at least in the last year or so. It was so bland. It was awful.
It was
just awful.
Painfully slow.
Why? What's going on? in
Nothing.
an hour and a half? Nothing?
It's the
No
worst
action?
setup. You're supposed to you're supposed to bond with the characters during the first hour and a half because they're about to punch you in the gut and the face with a whole bunch of special effects.
Yeah.
But do you bond? Do you get close to them? Do you even care about them?
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't work, but obviously you blame all this on the director. There was a problem with, first of all, having too many stories going on at once.
There are a lot of stories.
Just too much going on all at once. And these disaster films, these are movies where you really do need to centralize the story so that people can stay focused and pay attention and actually care about the characters. And I think that they were too busy trying to create art instead of trying to create a movie that was going to be like a Titanic.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. This would have been a better film in the hands of James Cameron.
Marcus, you have Eric Bana, Ben Foster, Casey Affleck. 3 amazing actors. And then you have Chris Pine. Chris is the lead. He carries this film. Was that the right choice?
I don't have a problem. I didn't have as big a problem with Chris Pine as you do. I actually think Chris Pine is actually a pretty solid actor. He's not, I don't hate him like you do. He's not amazing, but he's okay. And he's actually okay in this movie. Again, I don't think the problem in this film is the actors. It's everything else.
Well, let's talk about the New England accents. When we're watching Ray Donovan, boy, Sarah and John, they're able to pick apart who's got the authentic accent and who doesn't.
Who's got the authentic accent on this show, Sarah? Ray Donovan.
The wife does.
The wife has it, and sometimes but everybody else doesn't have it.
Even
John Voight. How about John Voight?
has.
No.
I think he has it. Well, you would know.
Yeah, it's clear.
How about Bunchy?
It's clear
How about
that
Bunchy?
they're dropping off. The Bunchy is all right.
What about Liev Schreiber?
No, his is okay. He's not even really trying to
His
have
is
a
not
Boston
super thick
accent.
like everybody else's,
No.
though.
The problem,
but the wife has it. She seems like a Boston
They don't like
girl.
Liev Schreiber 100% because they don't think he looks like a New Englander. They're always pointing that out to me. He doesn't look like he's from New England.
There is a thing that Seth
That's weird.
Myers did that's up. It's on
Boston
YouTube.
accent? It's so funny.
It's a movie called Boston Accent. And it is. It's so. I don't know if it's funny to people who aren't from Boston, but it was. I watched it twice. I was laughing so hard.
How long is it?
I don't know. Five minutes.
It's pretty long.
It's pretty long. They go on and on. They're like,
very funny.
he's on the phone with his dealer. He's like, where should I meet you? Worcester? Guy goes, I don't know. How about Gloucester? Well, what about Lowell? Well, maybe we should do it down in Newton. Maybe and it goes on and on and on.
Well, anyway, so let's talk about the New England accents.
Let's talk more about that, yeah.
Because it didn't seem like anyone really pulled it off. So instead, they mumble through half the film. How many times did I lean over to you and say, what'd they say?
A lot. And there was a lot of mumbling. Again, I don't think that was the actor's choice. I think that was the director's choice because oftentimes a lot of these guys feel like, if you speak really soft, it gives gravitas to what you're saying. And it really doesn't because we can't hear you.
Over the storm.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
Tell me what you were saying about that.
As I was saying...
They're in a storm.
So here they are in this gigantic rainstorm in the middle of the ocean. If you've been out on the boat, you know it's very loud out there on the ocean. And this is probably like a Category 4 hurricane going on out there. And there was these guys, Casey Affleck and whoever the other dude was. They were just having a conversation like this outside on the deck while the storm is raining down upon them. Like, wait a minute, dude. How could they even hear each other?
And they're mumbling.
It's like being in the club. When you
Maybe
have to
they're
be in a
lip
club,
readers and they just didn't make that clear.
I was like, this is ridiculous. How can they whisper that way and still understand each other in the middle of a hurricane?
At the beginning, we see the film is set in 1951.
Right.
Right when we saw that, you looked at me and said, Hooman, 1951. You know
there
what
ain't gonna be
that-
no brothers in this
he
movie.
says, you know what that means? I said, what? He said, no black people.
That's right.
Marcus.
But it's a modern day movie, so didn't they put any black people
It's
in?
Marcus.
1951. It said in 1951.
But it was made in this day and age.
Right.
Marcus,
But
were
it's
there any black people in this film?
No.
Not
No.
a single black person?
Not a single one.
Not-
Of course not.
Any color?
No.
White. The white color was there.
No.
We had blonde and brunette,
Marcus.
freckles, no freckles.
Ginger in there.
For how crap-
51. There were no maids. There were no butlers. So no Negroes.
Marcus, how crappy were the special effects for 2016 standards?
I didn't have a problem with the special effects. You had a greater
For
issue with that.
1987, this would have been amazing. I mean, the special effects were so crappy.
I didn't have a big problem
There's
with the
a
special
there's a
effects.
moment.
I'll tell you something. The special effects these days, it must be you get what you pay for. Because I'll tell you something. I believe there was a bear in that movie.
That bear was real.
That bear was real.
That
That's
was
right.
phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. That's what you expect.
I
in
never
2016.
questioned that there was a bear.
No.
No question.
Was there
don't.
any question at all?
Terrifying bear.
No question.
Well, and I think most of the money on special effects went towards that bear.
Yeah, because there
Towards
weren't a
that-
whole lot of
yeah,
other
there
ones.
weren't a whole lot of.
Well,
What
there
about the
was
horse?
the horse one.
yeah,
over
but I'm
the
just saying,
cliff.
for a film of that scale, basically the biggest special effect was the bear in that whole sequence. And you know what? Give it to Leo, because he was basically acting against green
He
screen.
was being mauled by a bear.
Yeah,
There's a
in
scene
his mind he was.
in this film that we're reviewing called The Finest Hours, where they're like, I think they must have run out of movie because they just started pouring buckets of water on people's heads.
That's funny.
pretending they were in a storm.
I thought the same thing.
Terrible movie.
I thought the same thing.
Somebody just poured a bucket of water on Casey Affleck.
Yeah,
and Chris
exactly.
Pine.
Yeah, I
I'm
thought
like,
the same
that
thing.
looks
There's
horrible.
someone just off camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Throwing buckets
Oh,
of
and by
water.
the way, it was in slow motion.
The bucket throwing?
The
Yeah.
bucket
The
throwing.
bucket
Was it a special wave?
No, it's supposed to be the storm is dying down.
Oh, is that
But-
what it was? I thought the storm was kicking up.
No, the storm was dying down, but they must have run out of money because it's towards the end of the film and they're rescuing everyone, but they need to show the storm is dying down. So they get these buckets of water, they just pour them on people.
Like, listen, we're in a drought,
stupid.
so
Yeah. So we're shooting this in California.
go to the kitchen, grab a glass.
All right, see this bucket, PA? Just pour this on Chris.
Turn on those fans.
That's right. And again,
Sum it all up, let me just say this. I know this film is called The Finest Hours, but it should have been called 20 Good Minutes. Because the first
So
hour
true.
and a half sucked so hard. If you love Chris Pine, I guess it's worth seeing, but outside of that, it could have been good. Now that I'm talking, I was gonna give it 2, but I can only give it 1.5.
I agree with you, Hooman. This could have been a really, really good film just based on the last 20 minutes. Like, wow, okay, now I'm paying attention. This has gotten good, and then it's over. It's too bad. I have to blame the director, and I don't know who it was, but whoever they were, they really screwed up here. They had a great opportunity, but it was so boring in the attempt to try to make it an artful action film when you should just go straight up action.
Straight up.
And straight up action and make it good for everybody.
What's a good action film that's also, artistic?
Fast and Furious.
Is it?
Oh, thank God.
Hey,
What do you give it, Marcus? Hold on, he hasn't given it his
I'm
rating.
going to give it 2 Aussies.
All right.